Hey guys, what is up? It is your boy Seatin here, and we today are going to look at these new Masteries in Marvel Contest of Champions and do a bit of an analysis, figure out how good they are, and also talk about kind of changes to the kind of best possible mastery setups. So I'm only level 52 at the moment. I'm missing out on probably about 10 mastery points, but hopefully this video will give you some direction on what is now really good. So let's start off by talking about willpower and the changes to it. So as you can see, I've completely dropped willpower for now. I feel like willpower went from on the kind of scale of godly to terrible. It's kind of like here, it's good, it's not great, it's good. It's kind of something that maybe if you got like a few more points, you might put 1 or 2 points in, because really it doesn't like scale up that much. It's 0.5% to 0.7. So yeah, you might just want to stick with the first node of it for now, because the new offensive ones, they're pretty cool. A couple of them, amazing. So let's go on to talk about those and why they are possibly so good. So firstly, we have Despair, which basically debuffs applied to the enemies reduce their healing and regeneration by 5% per stack. Now this actually goes all the way up to 15 per stack, and when you're using champions that do a lot of debuffs, for example, original Black Panther, Ant-Man, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, all great examples. Also Spider-Man as well, he has a few debuffs that he chucks out. The enemy that you're fighting is going to get a lot of reduced healing, if not completely nullified by this. Again, really cool and really helpful, especially when kind of adding a bit of power to the weaker, well, previously classified as weaker champions, just because they had so many debuffs. But I really feel like, especially in the arena meta and the alliance war meta, we're going to see less and less of willpower, and more of bleed champions. Bleed champions are going to be very popular, I believe, and this is because of this talent, Deep Wounds. So bleeds to your champions inflict last, 0.5 to 1.5 seconds longer. But the big pro is that if your champion has more health than the enemy, your bleed, when you do it, will instantly strike off up to 0.6% of maximum health for the enemies. So this seems to me pretty crazy, especially when you're fighting with champions like Deadpool X-Force, you've got Wolverine Weapon X, even Joe Fixit, original Black Panther. This is crazy if you're kind of at that top tier level of skill, where you're basically taking no damage so that you can always keep ahead of the enemy. I feel like maybe some sort of heavy bleed team, or one bleed champion, or a team based around one bleed champion in Realm of Legends might actually be some sort of viable new tactic. I want to get 3 out of 3 before I start testing this. But that is one of the very annoying things about the new Masteries, is, let me just get switch over to this, is the price of them. Absolutely ridiculous. So let's have a what's this amazing one that I found? Yeah, so basically, if you look on Marvel Contest of Champions True Coast page, he goes through the prices of all the new Masteries for getting it fully ranked, and they are so expensive, and it's really annoying. So Despair, which is the first one that we talked about, which is the healing, when you do a debuff, they also get healing reduction, which is awesome. That's going to take you 2,260 units to actually fully unlock. And then you've got Deep Wounds, which is 2,505 to fully unlock. Already tons and tons of units already. And then you have Assassin. We'll talk about Assassin in a bit, but look at that. Oh my gosh, ridiculous. 4,175 to fully unlock, and then you have Unfazed, which is 4,175 to unlock. But anyway, let's have a bit of a look at those two Masteries in a bit more detail. Let me just flick back to Marvel Contest of Champions. So let's first have a look at Unfazed. So when an enemy evades, so if you're fighting a champion in Alliance War, like for example Spider-Man or Nightcrawler, those champions that evade quite a lot, and you're going to get regular use of. This basically has a chance to give you a stack. It's anywhere between a 17 to 55% chance, so it gives you increased crit damage by up to 30%, and then also makes you unstoppable for 1 second. However, this is not reliable. I feel like if this was reliable and it had a 100% chance, then it would be probably like pretty good. But the fact is, you have to invest so many units to get it. I personally just don't think it's worth the grind. Like, screw that. It's like 4.2k units. Way too long to get something that's like might, you know, has about a 50% chance to trigger. I'd rather just kind of get good at playing around Evade. That's a much better option. So yeah, like, I think this one is pretty trash, to be honest. And then we have Assassin. So against enemies below 18% health, your champions gain 20% attack and decreases your enemy's defensive ability accuracy by 12%. If enemies start the fight below 18%, your champions also gain 50% offensive ability accuracy. So this all goes all the way up to 60% and 20%. I think this is okay and might be useful if we ever fight some sort of crazy hard Realm of Legends boss that maybe like enrages or goes a bit berserk below a certain amount of health. But kind of just in general use of the game, I don't think it's that great, to be honest. Like, it just doesn't seem like at all like you're gonna, well, to be honest, like by the time I've gotten to the enemies almost dead, I usually have like 1 or 2 bars worth of power, and I don't know about you guys, but most fights I finish off with like a level 1 or 2. So I feel like this is just overkill most of the time, so I wouldn't say this is necessarily worthwhile. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on the 4 new masteries down the bottom. I feel like, Despair and also Deep Wounds, absolutely fantastic, and I would definitely suggest going for them. But the other 2 just seem a little trash to me, so don't know what you guys are feeling on that, but I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. One thing we're also going to talk about quickly, let me just flick back over to Facebook, is the Suicide Masteries. So before, when you had the Suicide Masteries, it would pretty much heal you. Well, even though they were dealing a lot of damage to your champion, Willpower would offset it really well. But the fact Willpower has been brought down so much and only applies to kind of 1 instance of a buff now, kind of puts a real burden on anybody wanting to run Suicide Masteries. Straight up, like in pretty much every case, bearing in mind to get the Suicide Masteries, you also need to get Recoil as well. You are going to result in a net health loss. Like, they are actually going to be Suicide Masteries, and they're going to be even made worse when you go on like heal block nodes and lanes in Alliance Quest where you can't heal. So to be honest, I think Suicide Masteries, from what I can see, are just kind of straight garbage now. They're just going to run your champions into the ground quite quickly. I feel like a lot of champions have really sufficient and decent damage output. If there's anything on in the future, like you need to race to complete like a certain map, like they did with the X-Men Terror Genocide, then they might be useful. But for the time being, like, they're just gonna gimp your champion like 9 times out of 10. So I would suggest probably looking at getting rid of them or cutting down or using the kind of most optimal one, which is the one here. I'll kind of chuck a link to this Marvel Trucos' page in the description of this video, just in case anybody wants to work this out for kind of their own personal reasons. So yeah, guys, overall, I feel like this is an interesting direction for the game to go. I'm quite happy about Willpower being nerfed quite a bit. I feel like it's made Arena a bit more fun for me, because like instead of having like loads of champions that are really good and loads that sucked, they're all kind of like pretty good now, and it's really made a lot more champions viable. One thing that I do wish they would have added is a node that just, increases your block proficiency to give all your characters perfect block. That would have been a brilliant solution instead of removing it. But still, we're going to have to learn to get better at the game. We're going to have to fight like ninjas. And let's see over the next couple of weeks kind of how the fighting tactics progress and, you know, how the top end players are playing. Probably going to do a video about fighting post Willpower Nerf and Perfect Block Change in a couple of weeks once I kind of get the fighting style down. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the video. I hope you learned a bit about the Masteries and got kind of my view on them. Apart from that, take care and have an absolutely fantastic day.